McCaffrey, to me, is a third down back. Third down backs don't usually get drafted in the top 10. So I don't understand what Shannon is trying to say by that. You know, Reggie Bush was the exception to the rule as far as utility third down backs that went in the top 10. He went number 2. Okay? But I always contended that Reggie Bush shouldn't have gotten drafted in the first 10 picks. You know, if you take a guy in the top 10, this is perfect because I'm very consistent in this stuff I'm saying. I'm glad. Okay? If you take a guy in the top 10, he needs to be an every down back. Like, I can't really think of a utility back outside of Reggie Bush. Once again, he was the exception to the rule that was drafted in the top 10. You usually don't draft, or NFL teams don't draft players to come in on third down, to catch passes out of the backfield, to return punts, to return kicks, to do gadget plays. Okay? So, actually, I think that's a contradiction to say that because he's white, and I guess what he's trying to say is because he's white, he's being stereotyped, and that's why he's not going to go in the top 10. No, anybody that's done like these multi-purpose backs in college, and off the top of my head, I can only think of like Danny Woodhead, like Darren Sproles. Those guys don't get drafted in the top 10. So that's a fallacy in itself. Yeah, I don't agree with that. And I guess what he's saying is because he's white, he's being stereotyped as, you know, not a person that historically plays the running back position in the NFL. Maybe there's a little bit of that. But what I would say to that is that happens every single year for the last 50 or 60 years for black quarterbacks. So what? Right. There might be a little tad smidgen of because he's white, we don't feel like that white guys play the running back position. Okay, that's probably bad in relative terms. That's not a good thing to stereotype people. But, okay, that might be the case for white running backs, which are very far and few in between that come out of college football. Let's be honest, there aren't a lot of white college running backs. But that could be said probably 11 times about black quarterbacks coming out of college who are plentiful. There's probably a degree of stereotyping for black quarterbacks coming into the NFL as well, wouldn't you say? So, it's all good. I think McCaffrey's going to be a good player, man. I don't think he's going to be an every down back. It's as simple as that. I don't think he's going to be an every down back. And based on his skill set, his size, and what he does out on the field, what we've seen him do at Stanford, there's probably not a lot of people think that he's going to be an every down back. When you're talking about somebody of that stature and that size, you know, you're talking about Barry Sanders, Warwick Dunn. Warwick Dunn was another exception to the rule at that size. Usually those guys don't even get the opportunity. Usually they're put into a role like Darren Sproles, where they come in and catch passes out of the backfield. Every once in a while, they'll carry the ball between the tackles. That's the other thing. You got to be able to carry the ball between the tackles. But usually those guys are the guys that return punts and return kicks or whatever. So why, you know, do we think that Christian McCaffrey is going to be any different? Like, do you think Christian McCaffrey, as far as a smaller running back, is going to turn into and be the equivalent to Barry Sanders? You don't believe that. You don't believe that. You don't believe. If you think that Christian McCaffrey is going to turn into Barry Sanders, then okay, that's your opinion. I don't think most people think that Christian McCaffrey is going to turn into Barry Sanders. No. So I rebuke that sentiment by Shannon Sharp. Totally. So Christian McCaffrey, at the end of the day, I do think that he did well. He's going to be drafted probably higher than he would have before the combine. He showed well out there. He'll be able to help a team. He'll definitely be able to do that. Curtis Samuel, the wide receiver for Ohio State, did well. Multi-position player. He had a blazing 4.31 40-yard dash. His other numbers were solid as well. So he's probably, you know, helped himself in the draft this year as well. Mitch Trubisky, you know, Trubisky, what did he do? I didn't see, you know, I kept talking about Trubisky as being this 6'3", 6'4" guy. Mitch Trubisky is 6'2" and 1/8. So he's a little bit shorter than we thought, or than most people, I think, probably thought. He did all right, but he didn't do anything to say that he's a better quarterback. You should take him. Like, him and Deshaun Watson are the same height. I think Deshaun Watson actually like a smidge taller than him. That was the thing, because he looked like this prototypical, when you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, he looked like this prototypical quarterback, big, 6'4", 230 pounds. No, he's 6'2", 222 pounds. Him and Deshaun Watson are the exact same size. So why? Why was this uproar about how, great of a prospect, and he's probably going to go before Deshaun Watson? You could have a discussion, I guess, if he was 6'5", 240, but he's not. He's not, Deshaun Kaiser, he kind of faltered a little bit, man. He didn't test as well as a lot of people thought. Some longtime NFL evaluators after the workout were kind of concerned. What's he been working with all this time? After all, he ran he was working with the Irish, or played with the Irish this year. They went 4-8, and they didn't qualify for a bowl game. So there was a lot of talk about Deshaun Kaiser, man, and his opportunity to be the first quarterback. They were talking about him at one point about being the first quarterback. Didn't really do well at the combine. Didn't make a lot of fans. And so those are some of the winners and some of the conversations that you had about the NFL combine. Bottom line is Myles Garrett's going to be the number one pick. If they don't draft the number one, they'll be the same old Cleveland Browns. And Deshaun Watson should be the first quarterback in the draft. And Christian McCaffrey is probably going to be Danny Woodhead, but slightly better. That's what I took from the combine. Right. Let me quickly, before I forget, man, let me give you my number one cereal of all time in honor of National Cereal Day here on the Doug Stewart Show. Let's just recap the first four on my list. Coming in at number 5 was Frankenberry, Blueberry, and Count Chocula. Coming in at number 4 was Honeycomb. Big, big taste, big, big bite. Honeycomb's got a big, big taste and a big, big bite. Coming in at number 4. Number 3 was Captain Crunch. I think it's actually pronounced Captain. C-A-P-N apostrophe. Captain Crunch comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 was Cookie Crisp, a real game changer. I just saw this cereal in the grocery store a couple of weeks back. I just saw it. So it's still actually selling, even though their brand can't be anything the way that it was back in 1978. The number one cereal of all time. The number one cereal that got little kids geeked all over the playground back in 1978. The number one cereal. I mean, it was a big-ass thing when it came out. The number one cereal is Smurf Berry Crunch. Man, I can't even start to tell you. When that Smurf Berry Crunch cereal hit the airwaves on Saturday morning back in August of 1977. Man, it was a game changer. Like, all the little kids talked about it. Because you remember now, the Smurfs was the biggest cartoon ever during that time, surpassing like Scooby-Doo, Bugs Bunny, and all of that. The Smurfs had it going on. So we watched the Smurfs on Saturday morning, and they always talked about Smurf berries. You talk about marketing. Before they came out with the cereal, the Smurfs were actually eating Smurf berries. Yeah. They were already marketing it before they even came out with the damn cereals. What are you eating today, Papa Smurf? I'm eating Smurf berries. So what they were doing, we had no idea what they were doing. What they were doing was programming us already as little kids to go out and buy the Smurf Berry Crunch cereal when it came out 2-3 years later after the initial episode of The Smurfs. The number one cereal of all times, Smurf Berry Crunch. Yeah, so there you have it. Number 5 on my list, Frankenberry Blueberry Count Chocolate. Number 4, Honeycomb. Number 3, Captain Crunch. Number 2, Cookie Crisp, which I'm telling you, we went back and forth in the war room about number 2 and number 1. But coming in slightly at number 2 was Cookie Crisp, and number 1 was Smurf Berry Crunch. How about some of my my honorable mentions? The Great Cocoa Puffs. Kids go Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs. Remember that? Super Sugar Crisps. Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms basically came in at the number 6 spot. It just barely missed the top 5. So Lucky Charms, Frosted Flakes, even though now in my older age, Frosted Flakes is too damn sweet. I don't know how I eat that shit. But I mean, it was Tony the Tiger. They're great. So Frosted Flakes. Then you had Fruity Pebbles. Kids still like Fruity Pebbles today, so every once in a while I have a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. Dig 'em Smacks. We talked about, no, that's my bad list. And Alphabets, last cereal that I thought of, man, the great Alphabets. So not only did you get breakfast, but you learned your Alphabets at the same time. Hey, let's get out of here, man.
When Tupac was around,
Yeah.
he wanted to raise a nation of thugs. But I think it's only right for me to raise a nation of bruhs.
Yeah.
Frank Coleman, Ernest Justice, Oscar Cooper, Edgar Love.
Hey, thank you for joining me today on the Doug Stewart Show. Shouts out to my producers, Waterhead Walter, Poe Politickin, Brandon Butler, the consultant, Dwayne Vasson, Gerald Oliveri, my man Pink Gator for this hot-ass track right here.
I'm wrecking for the Q, I know it make you
Yeah.
wanna.
And a special shouts out to all of the Stewies, man. Without you, there is no me. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hold on, hear my favorite part of the song. Hold on.
Before I came out the womb, I had purple dreams. Schizo, they're my line
Yeah,
name.
all right. So shouts out to all of the Stewies, man. Without you, there would be no me. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Same Doug Stewart time, same Doug Stewart channel. Listen, do me a favor, man. Check out my YouTube channel, TDSS on YouTube.com. That's TDSS on YouTube.com. Make sure you hit the little subscriber button so that whenever we drop a video, you'll get a little alert letting you know that new video is out there. All right, do that. And also, man, become a premium member. We're getting very close to moving all the operations to the DougStewartShow.com. Chat and all right? So become a premium member by going to the DougStewartShow.com. We'll be back tomorrow. Same Doug Stewart time, same Doug Stewart channel. Peace.
When Tupac was around, he wanted to raise a nation of thugs. But I think it's only right for me to raise a nation of bruhs. Frank Coleman, Ernest Justice, Oscar Cooper, Edgar Love, 4 founders, sons of blood and thunder. I'm wrecking for the Q, I know it make you wanna. Frank Coleman, Ernest Justice, Oscar Cooper, Edgar Love, 4 founders, sons of blood and thunder. I'm wrecking for the Q, I know it make you wanna. I'm always in the queue, but you ain't know. I'm resolute to the boot, you don't give me those. In that pack over there, that my dog team. Before I came out the womb, I had purple dreams. Schizo, that my line name. And A the Mule, that my chain gang. From my yard to any yard, I put that on my life. The Q's going hard. A whole nation full of bruh. Do your duty, lift it up.